Hello there, Bick Benedict here. We're playing Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2, and this is my Angel of Death difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on the second half of Operation 3, which I'll be calling Operation 3-2, so it is entitled Servant of the Machine. I really like this chapter. You're going to have an early boss fight with a Neuranthrope, and then after that you're going to be introduced to a lot of new enemies that we'll talk about after we do the boss fight. Now, the Neuranthrope is essentially an upgraded Zuranthrope with a Z, but this one starts with an N, a Neuranthrope, and it's essentially the same sort of a flying enemy, but it's a boss, and it has different attacks, and of course, there's a million fucking lackeys during the whole process. And I did not see a single pickup for a crack grenade leading all the way up to the boss. So I think that they are controlling it in that way. The only grenades that I saw were shock grenades and a melt-a-bomb, which will be coming up over here in just a second, if I believe so. Oh, the next sequence. I think it's at the beginning of the next sequence. And I thought to myself, let's bring the melt-a-bomb to the boss, and when we knock him out of the air, drop it on him or near him, and then detonate it on him after we've, cleared away from him a bit so that we don't get killed. But I didn't test it, and the reason I didn't test it is not because of a desire not to have to go through the story elements of this game. Remember the story elements that I talked about in like the second video or third video, how they're really laborious and tedious, and you have to watch a lot of cutscenes that are admittedly you can skip, but there's a lot of walking and slow walking, which is even worse, and walking up to groups of enemies and being locked in place essentially, and having to go through all these beats and exposition dumps and things like that. But I will say, though, that the story element section that precedes this chapter is the briefest I've seen, so you can get through it pretty quick. So it wasn't because of that I didn't desire to go through and test the melt-a-bomb. It's mostly because the melt-a-bombs, I find them to be a little bit underwhelming, despite their claim that they're extremely damaging. I don't find them extremely damaging. Here's one right here. So if you do want to pick that one up that we just ran by over to the right, and use that on the boss, you can. Nothing would stop you from doing it. However, I'm just going to stick with the frag grenades that we start out with by default, because this boss has got a lot of fucking lackeys as usual. And I think it's helpful to have those grenades to clear up the waves of enemies that are incessant on the boss, and pretty much every boss in this game, except the final boss. I don't think the final boss is too bad for it. But the Zuranthrope is going to at some point, he's going to spam this move where he shoots out waves of green energy, and it's something that you do in this game a lot about iframing through barriers that require pretty precise timing. There's a lot of that on the final boss. But what I've found is that you just want to do one quick forward dash to get through an iframe through those barriers. Because if you're like double tapping the button, I found that it's just more often than not you're going to get hit by the barrier, and you're going to take damage, and you're not going to be able to get to the boss. Because he shields himself by throwing out these waves. Also over here, be careful because there's a lictor So try not to let him jump on you. He's right over here. And I would have found it, yeah. So if you do go through this chapter and you use a Melt-A-Bomb on the boss, let me know how it goes. Because the Melt-A-Bomb would work. And there's no reason why it wouldn't work. It's just that you only get one of them, right? At any given time, you can only hold one. And if you don't have any frag grenades, then, and that way, those groups of enemies can get a hold on you in maybe ways that you don't want to. So as far as weapons for this boss, I have heard that the Melta rifle works pretty good. I don't know if it's on this chapter. It could very well be. You don't need it though, by any means. I think the auto bolt rifle is perfectly fine to do the job, plus the plasma pistol. And then it's up to you about the power sword or the chain sword. Now, bear in mind, the power sword is technically stronger than the chain sword, but it's a little finicky to use, and I don't really... Oh, there's a Melta rifle. So yeah, pick the Melta rifle up if you want. Try your hand at that. I just think that as far as utility, the chain sword is like just as helpful as any other weapon. In fact, I've seen a lot of people talking about it online and on different videos saying that it's their preferred weapon. It's the best weapon. It's a damn good weapon for midline attributes. So here's the boss down here, and you won't see me fall in combat over here. You will see me use a heal. Fortunately, there's a heal over here, and that's what I meant. There's only one heal med stimulate pickup over here throughout the entire chapter. So this boss fight is quite a controlled fight. So here he is over here, the Neuranthrope. He's going to be casting AoE waves on the ground all the time. So you need to be very, very careful of staying in one place for too long. Note the position of all the exploding barriers. Have a look at where enemies are spawning from. Take note of that because they spawn from those places every time. What happened there was that he was doing a telegraph where he was doing like a thunder attack overhead me, and I was ignorant to him doing it, so I got slammed down. And he melts your shields very, very fast is what the problem is. So when you do drop him, he's going to go into this defense mode where he casts out these aforementioned waves. And those green balls are very difficult to dodge as well. You need to dodge the very last moment because they will track you. And here we go. So just dash one time through this, and then you want to assault him with melee attacks. So if, like I was saying, if you want to just hit him with melee attacks a bunch and then drop a Melta bomb and then just run away and then detonate it, ideally before he gets too high off the ground. See how much you can get off him that way. And if you can get a great amount of damage, that's awesome. See, it's just situations like this where I like to have frags. If I had been able to have those crack grenades, I would have definitely got those. But it's my belief that they don't exist until after the fight. So try to stand behind pieces of cover like this. But if you get too complacent about shooting him, he will he's going to be continually spamming those AoEs on the ground. And here is me doing an improper dodge there, and I didn't get my iframes. And then you could also buff your attacks with the Righteous Fury if you need to. I did get downed a couple of times and had to get revived by my teammates, but I wanted the fight to go so that I didn't have to resort to that. And that was just an additional layer of challenge. If you know, if things are very difficult for you as far as this boss fight, feel free to get picked up by one of your teammates. There's no shame in it. There's not. It's just that I'm doing something a little different. So here, we're almost finished with him. There should only be just one more session of him doing this, but yeah, that spray that he just did right there, that doesn't have that much range. So if you're relatively far away from him, you don't need to worry about that. But always be looking out for the blue flashes of the enemies trying to attack you, because then that will give you back your lost shields. Because he takes away more than one of your shields. He'll take both of your shields from his attacks. So he's pretty brutal. But overall, I don't mind this fight whatsoever. It's just that I still don't understand why a fight can't be just this guy, because it's challenging enough and it's made well enough. It's interesting and creative and it's fine. But then you throw a bunch of junk on it, and it kind of results in a less tactful experience, I think. God, some of these executions are just amazing. I love them. Okay, so there's the boss, and now we're going to be soon, not in the next part, but relatively soon, coming up on some new enemies. And I love this stage for some of the environments and the new enemies that they give you, because there's going to be some enemies called cultists coming up, some Marines, specifically rubric Marines, and also Zanganors. They're the guys with the horned helmets that have shields. And I don't know about if there's any sorcerers, but we'll have to see. There is a heavy weapon over here, if you want to pick this up. Heavy bolter. Anytime I say heavy weapon, it means that it's a weapon that is a tertiary weapon. Okay, so we've just got a couple of stretches over here with familiar fodder enemies. I don't know if when I was speaking about the cultists that they're human enemies, so they're essentially an enemy, since they're so small and we're so huge that you can just roll through them and kill them. So as for the Marines that we'll be fighting, they're fairly slow, I'd say, but the thing is that they can really sneak up on you with these teleporting attacks, and you might find them on one side of a room, and they'll appear like right behind you. So you can actually do a reverse parry on that if you want to, because otherwise you're going to get damaged quite heavily. But generally at short range, you can outmaneuver them pretty quickly, and they don't have that much HP. They have about as much HP as these Tyrannoid warriors over here. But it's just a new enemy, and they're tricky, and I really appreciate the integration of such a prolific bestiary that they've put in this game. Some of the Rubric Marines have bolters called warp fire bolters. They're I think they're like flamethrowers. Yeah. Or bale. What do they call them? I wrote it down somewhere. Bale flamers. They're short range, but they deal you heavy damage. And we're going to be seeing them pretty short. And then at the end of the I love these sequences over here. They're really fun. But you can see the Marines down here, and if you don't want to run up to them, see how they teleported right behind me. The best thing to do, actually, to capitalize on damage. Did you see how I parried him and it put me into gun prompt stance, and then it was my choice to either hit him or shoot him? Well, the thing that I don't do enough, and what I would recommend that you do, is do a one melee attack, and then do the gun strike. That will maximize on your damage. I don't know if you can do two melee strikes, and then do the gun strike. It might be up to the quickness of the weapon. But we're going to be getting a really great gun pretty soon. It's a gun that charges and has a huge amount of damage potential to it. So we've got some guys up here as well. Just make use of your cover as best as you can. It'd be interesting if you can switch your shoulders, but I found that. Here we go. I hit him and then I gun strike him. There we go. Because sometimes the gun strike won't put him into execution, but maybe hitting him once or maybe twice and shooting him with a gun strike will. But I've found that not many games accommodate switching your shoulders and being able to aim over either of your shoulders. A game is either that way or it isn't. Like. So many games don't accommodate it. The one that comes to mind immediately, though, is Uncharted. Even from day one with the first game, whenever it came out, 15 years ago, it had a shoulder swap to it. And there are a good amount of shooters that do shoulder swapping, but I just find that in this modern age of guns and gun shooting in games, why that can't be accommodated for. It would be particularly helpful on this game because there's no cover, so it's often difficult to capitalize on getting damage on people when you are in cover, because if they're at a certain position, then maybe a big wall is right in front of your way and you can't do anything about it. But if you could swap your shoulder, it'd be great. Okay, so that room is a cleared room. But I really love this game, and I appreciate that a game like this exists in this day and age. I truly do, because it just is a game, That's all most people want. But they're given, way more than they want. Oh, do we have the... No. We're going to get a gun that has a charge to it. Here we've got some spawns down here. Some of these little warriors down here. What do you think of the design of this enemy? Because I find it kind of fascinating. And there's going to be more iterations of the Marines as well. These down here, these are the cultists. See how you can just roll through them and they die? Or you can just do whatever you want to them, but if you want to just kill them real fast. But yeah, that Neuranthrope boss melts your shields fast. I mean, it's no just one shield getting melted, it's both your shields getting melted, so that was kind of difficult. Oh, watch out for that. There's an indicator for a grenade. I barely saw it. The AI doesn't seem to steal your kills as much as I feared it was going to do either. I really like that. What a fun enemy. What a fun game. It's a great game. I can't wrap my head around modern games. They're so confusing to me. Because I come from a mentality of playing very old games, and games like this that to me make sense, but when I come across these new titles, I don't know how to play them. I can't figure out how to play them. Like I was trying to figure out how to play Wukong. I could see how you could basically do it, but there's so many different like lures and menus and just putting things on, augmenting stuff, and I like a basic game. That's all I've ever asked, and I was really surprised to find this. Oh, well, there's a great weapon in here. Not this one, but it should be over here. Yeah, the LAS Fusel. Now, this gun is a charging gun, and it's similar to the torque bow in Gears of War, where when you've charged it, it's going to go off, and you can't stop it from going off. So you have to commit to it. Fortunately, that crate that in the previous room, you can go back in there and get infinite ammo for this weapon. I believe it takes 2 fully charged shots with the LAS Fusel for the Marines. Even if they're headshots, you'll get a lot of clipping down here too. This is really unfortunate. It's been way worse. This is going okay for clipping, but I've been over here and got many times over cock blocked by geometry. So over there you can't go over there, but be careful of the smaller warriors that are going to charge you off that spawn down the bridge. And the trade-off for this weapon is it is slow. It's not a tertiary weapon, but since it does take a fair bit of time to charge, it's not a weapon that you want to have on you when you've got like 20 warriors coming at you. So be careful of that. And as far as its ability to do piercing damage, I haven't tested it very much, but I suspect that it will do piercing damage, meaning if you kill one enemy and if he's layered atop another enemy, so to speak, do you get both kills? I do believe so, and you should. Yeah, that was just pure clipping right there. Pretty unfortunate. But keep going back, keep refilling your ammo. It's a great gun. Now, I wouldn't take this weapon. Sorry, I would not take this weapon into the final bit of business at the end, which is it's a pseudo escort mission. It's not an escort mission per se, but it still feels like one to me, and I'm still gonna probably say it is, just to joke about it for this game. Having a preoccupation with escort missions, but essentially it's just you're holding off until, I don't know, you kill everybody or somebody helps you. Because I don't know what the objective is. It'll say it when we get there, something like just stand by the podium or something. Or the pedestal. I'm not sure what it is. And I'm not sure if you're in some sort of a perimeter. It looks like that aesthetically, but I don't think that it matters much at all, if anything, if you leave the perimeter. And I would probably use the just the auto bolt rifle on this, or better. And I think you'll be able to get this one. Yeah, you can probably get this. The heavy plasma incinerator. That'll do the job you need it to do with the best results. So I'm pretty sure I pick it up, and I'll show you that presently. There's a melt-a-bomb or two prior to this area that you can pick up too. And because there's going to be different, you're going to be in like the middle of a room, and there's going to be spawns coming from just different sides of the circle, and it's always the same. The spawns they come at the same times every time, so to speak. So you're not going to get surprised in that regard. However, if you do get overrun, that's going to be tricky because there's not much to say in the hopes of having cover, because there's just not much cover. Yeah, these are interesting, fun little scrubby fun guys. I like these guys quite a bit. And yeah, a stingy level for crack grenades and med kits, and I don't think a single Guardian relic. So they've really controlled this pretty heavily. But it's not excruciating or anything. Yeah, so we're gonna have to ditch this weapon, but no worries. I know now I remember exactly where the heavy plasma incinerator is, and I'll be able to show you where that is. I was also thinking, so when you pick up and when you have a melt-a-bomb, if you drop it and place it, right, and then what happens if you go pick up some crack grenades? Like, there's going to be some crack grenades in this fight too. Like, can you still detonate the melt-a-bomb that you've dropped if you're holding the crack grenades? And I ran into a problem over here where I think I couldn't, but if anyone knows more about that, please let me know, because what's the point of dropping a melt-a-bomb and then not carrying anything else if you can carry something else? Because there is a melt-a-bomb over here. And why you might want a melt-a-bomb is because you can place it on known spawn points, to help facilitate kills that way. But again, with the melt-a-bomb, I find it really underwhelming. I don't find it to be as damaging as it's made out to be, and I don't find the blast radius to be as widespread as maybe it's implied to be. I think you could do a lot more with 3 grenades, quite honestly. But I will show you at least where the and I think you can detonate the melt-a-bomb if you're holding other weapons. But maybe there's a conflict that messes yeah. I'm not going to go up there, I guess. But back to my right on one of the pieces of rubble, there is a melt-a-bomb. So I guess I decided not to fuss with it, unless I have it now. Looks like I might. But before you do the fight, yeah, there it is. I dropped it. I picked it up off camera. Here's the weapon you want. Plasma incinerator. So that's right there, right? So we can detonate it if we want to. But before you do anything, pick up the ammo, pick up the... I suppose you could just detonate it and then run and go get the crack grenades, because there's some crack grenades right outside this perimeter that's coming up. Right over here. So maybe my mistake was picking up the crack grenades. Yeah, because it doesn't say detonate anymore, but it does have that, see the icon of where I set down the grenade. So another alternative, and I think this is what I do, is I shoot the melt-a-bomb. So I think that's how the workaround works in that way. So feel free to pick up more grenades, and then instead of detonating it, just shoot it. Yeah, that's what I did. Okay. So here's the first spawn over here. And I'm holding down. See, what I'm doing is that the reason that happened is I held down the button I have programmed for B, which is A in my case, and it just stuck it on somebody nearby me, and it messed up. So we all just learn things as we go on. But see how there's like a perimeter in here? You do have to hold position at this altar in here. So yeah, if you do leave this perimeter, it turns purple. And if you're in it, it's yellow, meaning that you're protecting it. So you just need to hold your position over here. And I did not find this too excruciating. If you have to momentarily leave the altar's vicinity to do executions, do them, because your shields are going to be gone a lot unless you're very good. And I never had a fail state here, folks, and I'm hoping you don't either. So that's always the worst. You know, when you get a fail state, it just feels bad. It feels worse than dying. I mean, in game, I mean. So we've got some heavies over here. Anytime they get a sight on you, you need to get out of the way quickly. And keep looking for those openings to perfect parry. You know, when you want them to come, they never do. And that is well, I guess it kind of is an escort mission when you think about it. But see, this I'm gonna leave this whole area probably to get this, because I want my shields back. And the altar's at 77%, so it's perfectly fine. So yeah, you can come out from time to time. It's not the end of the world. Just keep rolling through the cultists. Look for exploding canisters. And, you know, keep doing those executions. They're going to keep you alive. That's the whole basis of the game. Oh, man. I think I was concerned I was staying out of the temple or the ring too much, and I was just going overboard and being sloppy with my hits, and he stomped on me. And then we've got some more. I don't know if we've got these sorcerer type of things here. It's hard to tell. I don't know if we've been introduced to the sorceress, but your main focus, it's got to be on these Marines. A lot of them too, aren't they? Then when you get up to 100, you're done. That is Operation 3-2. I will see you in the 4th operation. Until then, please take care.